On November 24, 1971, millions of Americans were traveling for Thanksgiving. In this era before metal detectors and TSA checkpoints, you could walk into an airport, pay $20 cash for a ticket, and board a commercial airliner carrying nothing but a black briefcase. This photograph shows the kind of professional persona adopted by the man traveling under the name Dan Cooper. Witnesses remembered someone in his mid-40s, wearing a dark business suit, a white shirt, and a thin black tie. He was quiet, polite, and completely forgettable. After Northwest Orient Flight 305 took off from Portland, Oregon, Cooper ordered a bourbon and quietly handed a folded piece of paper to flight attendant Florence Schaffner. Assuming he was just another passenger passing along a phone number, Schaffner slipped the note into her pocket. Cooper leaned in and told her she'd better read it. When she unfolded the paper, she found a single terrifying message. He had a bomb. To prove he was serious, he slid the briefcase onto his lap and cracked it open. Inside, Schaffner saw red cylinders, wiring, and a battery. Cooper didn't panic or raise his voice. Without drawing a weapon and without alerting the other passengers, one man simply sat in his seat and took absolute control of a Boeing 727. His demands were communicated down to air traffic control. He wanted $200,000 in $20 bills, 2 main parachutes, and 2 reserve parachutes. As the plane circled over Seattle, federal agents on the ground rushed to gather the cash. They pulled thousands of $20 bills from local banks, secretly recording the serial number of every single note before packing them into bags. 2 hours later, Flight 305 touched down. Authorities delivered the money and the parachutes to the aircraft. Cooper inspected the gear, counted the cash, and calmly released all 36 passengers. Normally, releasing the hostages marks the end of a hijacking, but Cooper ordered the remaining flight crew to keep the engines running. His actual plan was just starting. With only the pilots, a flight engineer, and 1 attendant left on board, Cooper commanded them to take off again, this time steering south toward Mexico City, into a dark, cloudy sky. He issued highly unusual flight instructions. The pilots were to stay below 10,000 feet, fly at the absolute minimum speed possible without stalling, and keep the landing gear partially lowered. This photograph shows the exact model of aircraft they were flying. His parameters weren't random guesses. They specifically exploited the mechanics of the Boeing 727. The 727 was equipped with an aft air stair located under the tail, allowing someone to open a rear door airborne. The lowered gear and deployed stairs deflected jet exhaust, creating a pocket of calm air directly beneath the aircraft. Knowing these aerodynamic limits meant Cooper wasn't an amateur guessing his way through a climb. He had studied commercial aviation vulnerabilities to find a precise mechanical loophole. Outside the cabin, a massive storm battered the Pacific Northwest. Temperatures were below freezing, it was pouring rain, and the aircraft was fighting 200-mile-per-hour winds in total darkness. Over the forests of Washington state, Cooper strapped the cash to his chest, walked down the rear staircase, and stepped backward into the void. Flight 305 continued its awkward, low-altitude journey until it landed safely in Reno, Nevada. Heavily armed FBI agents stormed the aircraft, but they found an empty cabin. Cooper had vanished. Aside from a black clip-on tie and a couple of cigarette butts resting in an ashtray, there was no trace of him, launching the most intense aviation manhunt in American history. The FBI immediately launched Operation Norjack, a massive multi-agency response designed to track down the man who jumped from Flight 305. Look at this terrain. Military helicopters and ground teams spent weeks combing through miles of dense forests, steep mountains, and freezing rivers across Washington state. Investigators were deeply divided. To jump into a freezing storm at night, wearing a business suit and carrying a heavy bag of cash, required intense, specialized training. Without it, the impact alone would likely be fatal. Over the next few decades, agents interviewed more than 800 suspects. They investigated experienced paratroopers and criminals with matching physical descriptions. They found absolutely nothing. The case remained cold until 1980, when an 8-year-old boy was digging in the sand during a picnic along the banks of the Columbia River. He unearthed several decaying bundles of $20 bills. When investigators checked the serial numbers on this weathered currency, they perfectly matched the ransom money given to Dan Cooper. Instead of solving the crime, the money complicated it. It proved the cash made it to the ground, but no one could determine if Cooper survived and buried it, or if nature had simply washed the bills downriver from his fatal crash site. In 2016, after 45 years and millions of dollars spent exhausting every credible lead, the FBI officially closed the active investigation. He stepped off an airplane with $200,000 and vanished into thin air. Even in an era where everything is documented, the true identity of D.B. Cooper remains an entirely unanswered question.